Howdy, Ken. Episode 24. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I love it. It's the weekend.
It is. Episode 24. Today we're going to talk about the thing that since I've been online doing marketing, this is the thing that I heard is dead and or dying from so many people. And that is email marketing. Do you do email marketing?
I do email marketing, probably not as well as I can, but it is definitely something that is an important part of my business for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So part of email marketing, I actually read this, or I have this book from Ken McCarthy. It's called The System Club Letters 57 Big Ideas to Transform Your Business and Your Life. And Ken McCarthy's a big old school direct response marketer that sort of transitioned to the world of internet marketing, many moons ago when the internet sort of came on really big in the early 2000s. And it's like when they invented the squeeze page, right? And email was sort of seen as this thing where you could just blast out, and that's where spam came from, right?
Right.
You could just literally just send email to every email address on the planet, and then people had to sort through it because at that time, if people got an email, right? Like for the listeners, if you're watching here on the YouTube channel, AOL said you got mail, right? And you were excited because that was like getting a letter in your mailbox. You thought that that's somebody that, knew you, or it was something you were going to be interested in because maybe you signed up for the catalog or whatever, right? So he wrote this he wrote this chapter in the book, right? And it's, is it affiliate marketing or spam? Right? Affiliate marketing works when it works because a list owner who builds up the trust of his list members over a period of months and years is willing to put his or her reputation on the line on behalf of a joint venture with a partner. This is the exact opposite of spam.
I agree. I totally agree because I have a separate account that I utilize to purchase products that I review, and it is littered with emails from people that I don't even know. And I have no relationship with these people, and somehow they magically ended up in my inbox. And I think the trust factor is so important in this because, on Gary's channel, 30minutemarketing.net, and on my YouTube channel, kenfurukawa.com, we try to build that trust. That's what our goal is, to build trust with our audience by providing valuable content. And that is how we get people onto our email list. And once you get them on the email list, the real work begins. I mean, you got them on the list, they're fresh on there, they're happy, they're excited. And this is where you have this opportunity to really build further trust with them, to build your brand. And later on, this is what leads to, you promoting products and getting sales. But again, it's all about trust. And I think that's the most important part about email marketing is in some instances that trust is lacking. and people need to understand that that's what you need to do when you're building up your list, when you're building up your email marketing list.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of deflates you too, because you know that you have a spam email. Let's just call it what it is, right?
Yep.
Like, you have one. So you have to assume that everyone that lands on your email list is giving you the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, until they get to know you.
Yeah.
Right? To build that trust. Now, There's a book behind me here. And for everyone watching on the YouTube channel, yes, we are on different sides of the screen. It is very confusing and it's throwing me off. I'm going to admit, if you're listening to it on the podcast, you know why we are sort of hesitant, and maybe we're just not feeling the way we normally do, because this is weird because Ken is technically hosting this session. So the software we use put him on the side I'm normally on, but that's the point, right? So being comfortable, right? So being comfortable with who you give your email address to, because in this day and age, in 2022, 2021, going into 2022, email is kind of like that last bastion of one-on-one communication. It's where, even if you know that you're on an email list, you know that it's still just one person, right? One person sending you a message, and then you can reply back to that person, and they can reply back to you, and you can have a one-on-one conversation with that person.
Right.
Now, the reason a lot of people talk about email marketing being dead is there's other ways to do this, right? With text messaging, with Messenger, right? Stuff like that, WhatsApp, whatever, right? Any way where you can get somebody's phone number, or you can get access to their real Facebook or their IG, right? Their Instagram, and you can have that one-on-one conversation with them. But still, to me, and again, this may be a demographic issue, right? When you talk about like the person's age, where they're from, their sort of professional status. Because for me, in 30 years of doing IT, email was where business happened. Okay. So when internet came online, and still to this day, if I want to buy something, I go to my computer and I give them my email address, and I want to get a receipt, and I want to be able to track it through my email. Yeah. Is that just me, or is that sort of where you are in the world of online and this idea of using email in your business?
Well, I'm the same way, where I utilize email a lot, but I think a lot of it depends on just the company that you're purchasing a product from, what method of communication that they like to use in terms of providing you with your receipt information, and maybe what do you call that, sales and things like that.
Right.
Because you could easily use like WhatsApp, or you could use another form of communication. But here's the problem: not everybody uses WhatsApp. Not everybody uses all these other types of modes of communication. Email is still the one where everybody uses it. And I think it's, to me, when you had mentioned that, everyone talks about it being, dead. It's now more of a marketing thing to me too, by the way. It's like email marketing is dead. So you open up your email, ironically. But yeah, email is still there. It's kind of like that. When I was doing marketing, or the traditional marketing, it was direct mail. Direct mail was the thing. Like, we would send out postcards, we'd create these val pack type mailers, and we'd send them out. And that was one way that we'd get people to sign up for things and communicate. Now, fast forward, I guess that shows you how old I am, but now people are, it's email. Email is taking that place, and still today, I think postcards and things are making a comeback, because people, get inundated with so much emails all the time that people welcome getting the occasional postcard in the mail.
Yeah, it mixes it up.
Yeah.
And I think the part of that too, and I'll go back to, sort of like what Ken McCarthy was talking about in the System Club letters, is it affiliate marketing or spam? He continues on in that, I keep wanting to say article, in that chapter in the book, right? And he talks about the fact that the reason that message is spam is because in the world of affiliates and the launch cycle, like we talked about in, I think it was just last episode, the launchjacking, the buzz, right? The big announcement that's going out. A lot of, vendors will say, hey, here is the angle to use. Here's the message to blast out to your audience. And a lot of that is what's called an email swipe, which is just copy that's done for you. And you can copy and paste that message into your email inbox. And he's saying, if you do that, you're missing the point of being an affiliate marketer, because you're going to lose that trust. Because when somebody reads that email, it's a canned response. It's like a messenger bot, or it's like dialing and getting, that automated voice on the phone and putting you on hold. You know what I mean? Or just like a recording giving you the exact same message over and over. When you want more from that, because you picked up your phone to dial that number, you were hoping to talk to a person. If someone gets on your email list, if I join and I give you my email over at kenfurukawa.com, it's because I want to know more what Ken has to say. I want to know what Ken's doing. I want to know what Ken's message to me is, why it's so valuable for me to be on that email list, to get that information, to click on those links based upon the story he's telling me. And that sort of brings up another sort of thing I want to talk about. But I just want to get your idea of that. What's your expectation when you land on a squeeze page? what's your expectation for that first sort of series of emails that you know are coming?
You know, most of the time it's I want to get to know the person on the other side. I think as a marketer, I want to speak to that person as if they're a human, right? I mean, they are human. These are the people that are opening up my emails. And I don't like to look at people in that sense that they're prospects and that I want to close them, that they're some faceless person. So for me, being on the other side of someone who inputs, my information in there, I expect to have some sort of, we call it a nurture sequence, right? Where you're nurturing that relationship, or a dating sequence when you're just first dating, right? You have some expectations as far as how you want to be presented to in terms of the content or whatever relationship, how you're going to establish that, and just kind of setting those ground rules of what you're going to be doing when you email this person, so that they understand that when I send an email to you, it's because I'm either providing you with value, or I'm telling you about something that's happening that's very important that you need to understand, or that maybe there's a product out there that, because you're on my list, might actually help you with your business. And so for me, it's all about setting that expectation level that, hey, I'm here. I understand that you're here because of this, and that you're looking for this, because otherwise you wouldn't have signed up for that. And that's, for me, that's what I expect from the person that, or the company that I sign up with. But when you sign up for let's say Banana Republic or any of these other e-com sites, there's no value in it, right? It's all about getting promotions, getting specials, getting all these other kinds of things. But when you sign up for, let's say, a health blog, right? I expect to get things like articles on how to live healthy, how to be healthy, how to eat healthy. These kinds of things are what my expectations are. And when they don't go that route, when I get something that's totally just kind of outside of the realm of even what that website is all about, that's when I click the unsubscribe button, because now I know that this relationship is going downhill.
I'm getting out before this gets crazy.
Out, right? While the getting's good.
Right before I show up to the house and there's a rabbit boiling in a pot.
Yeah.
I probably just showed my age on that one. If anybody got the reference, go ahead.
Great movie, by the way. Great movie.
Let me know. So the truth about email marketing and making money online using email marketing is it starts with, just like everything we talk about here on the Affiliate Files, understanding that you're building a relationship with your audience. So it's understanding your audience and their expectations and what they want out of your emails. Now you can sort of blur this, I guess, as the sort of the phrase I'll use, or you can sort of make it what you want. For example, if you get on my email list over at 30minutemarketing.net, you can see the way I do email marketing. I take sort of more of a personal approach, and I tell stories about my day, about the journey that I'm going on inside of the world to make money online. And the reason you're on that list is to reflect with me as I take that journey, and then find out the things that work and don't work for me. And also to find out that I'm a real person and that life gets in my way. You'll hear about the weather. You'll hear about things that happen to me, throughout the day, or things that, that I'm planning in my personal life as well as in my business, because the two go hand in hand, right? There's really not one without the other. You know what I mean? And because 30-minute marketing is me, right? I am the brand at this point, at this stage. I think that's what people can expect. You know what I mean? So when they get that first series of emails, that's sort of what they get. And I'm not too overly concerned with unsubscribes or link clicks at that point, or any point at all, really, because a lot of people want to get sort of bogged down in the technical aspect of, well, if nobody opens my email, then I'm going to kick them off my list. Well, if nobody clicks on my links after the first 10 emails, then I'm going to put them in a different sequence, and I'm going to trick them into clicking a link, or I'm going to, make it more, something better for them to click on. Well, if you didn't do that from the very beginning, well, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. And, sometimes people just like to ghost you, right? They just want to subscribe for whatever value you're providing them. In this case, for us, it's the 12-step action plan. That is something that we always promote. And some people just want that, and they don't want anything else. And so they're not going to ever bother opening up any of your emails. It's not that they're not interested in what you have to say. It's just that maybe they don't want emails, and that they're more interested in just diving into the content and taking care of that. And they may want to occasionally email you if they have a question. So, Yeah, that's a trick. I mean, like for me in the beginning, when someone unsubscribed and I only had like 10 people on my email list, I was like, oh no, somebody unsubscribed. It was so heartbreaking, right? But now I welcome it, because that means that that person wasn't a good fit for my message and for what I'm trying to teach, and they might be a better fit with Gary. And our styles of communicating with our lists are very different. I know Gary, he'll email every day and he'll talk about things that are happening in his personal life. For me, I like to tell some stories, or I like to talk about a little bit of facts and things that people might want to hear about, and then that leads into some kind of lesson that I want to teach them. So everyone has their different ways, and that's the beauty of the email marketing, right? Is that you the listener, you could be on both of our lists right now, and you'll get totally different angles and viewpoints about different things that are going on in our lives. But that's what I like about it. It's the relationship part about it, is that I can write a letter to people and either get an action or a reaction or something to that. And if they don't respond, then that's fine. I mean, some people just aren't ready. They might respond maybe 3 months, 6 months down the line. Who knows? But
And
everyone, there's no set timetable, and I think that's what Gary wants to say too. There's no set timetable on just this communication of back and forth, because some people just aren't like that.
yeah, and I think you can get caught up as the affiliate to step back into the world of being, an affiliate marketer. And the truth about making money online is, if you're taking the time to build that list, like Ken said at the beginning, yeah, you could, that person that signed up could drop you off in a spam folder, or, put you in the bin bucket or whatever and never pay attention to you. But it usually, right? Because everything, we don't speak in absolutes because there is no such thing. But usually, just like Ken said, he's going to go and he's going to look at that ever so often. Maybe when he's buying a new product, doing research, or maybe he's just having a day and he's like, you know what? I'm going to open up that spam folder, that spam email for some entertainment, or he's just looking for something because maybe there is something in there that's worth that, his time, and he finds that one thing. And that's when it comes into sort of thinking about the technical aspects of email marketing when it comes to getting someone to open your emails or go find your emails, right? So is it affiliate marketing or spam? The technical aspect of when I press send inside of my email autoresponder and that email goes into the spam folder, there's some technical things you can do or whatever, but the real answer to staying out of the spam folder or getting the quote unquote, and I just use the air quotes for everybody listening on the podcast, the real way to stay out of the spam folder, the only way to get out of the spam folder is to make that connection with that person, have them go find your email wherever it may be, and literally move it into their inbox, star it, make it a priority, whatever mechanism they use and whatever email client they use, right? Whether it be Hotmail or Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, right? Or their own personal domain, or maybe their work email that they're not supposed to be using to sign up for spam. They have to literally want to hear your message. Yeah. And that starts with the message that's on your squeeze page. That starts with your message that led them to the squeeze page. That starts with the fact that, hey, on the other side of that squeeze page, you have another message for them that compels them to go find that email. And then when they open that email, the message inside of that email compels them to want to read and look for that next email from you.
Yeah, and it's just relationships, right? It's building that relationship and just understanding. And we've talked about this in a previous episode, that you're talking to another person, and they've got feelings, they've got hopes, they've got dreams, and you've got to figure out that way. First of all, they took the first step. They took the first step by inputting that information or their information, and it's that trust factor, right? They're, regardless of whether it's a spam email or not, or a spam email account or an account that they use to register for stuff, they're putting their trust in you to provide them with something, right? So if whatever you're providing on the squeeze page, you provide them, but following up on that and really trying to help them progress to achieve whatever transformation that they're looking for. And the only way you're going to do that is you got to be totally honest and upfront. And what's on that squeeze page is what they get. And going forward in your nurture sequence, or how you engage with them in the beginning, just being open and honest about who you are, what you stand for, and what you're going to be telling them going forward. And trust, man, that's, I think I said it before. We're in this business of trust. This is the trust business, because the more people trust you, the more opportunities you have for them to open up your emails, to click on that link, to purchase your products, to refer you to their friends. And that's how it works. But if you damage that relationship, if you engage in tactics that are, spammy, for lack of a better term, or deceiving, that's when you damage that relationship, and that's when you lose a valuable subscriber. And someone that down the road, they may not have bought something from you right then and there, but 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, they may end up one day clicking on that link and buying something from you when they are ready. And I think that's the problem, is that I think some people who get into affiliate marketing look at subscribers as that, a subscriber or a prospect, rather than as a real person who lives in this town, who, does this for a living. And I think, it's important for us to start realizing that we are communicating with real people, and that we're not on a specific timetable here. Everyone's on their own path, their own journey, and you just have to keep providing value. And eventually that's going to translate into, once you give them what they want and need, then you're going to get what you want.
Yes, I would just follow up and just continue to say, don't get caught up in the technical aspects of it, right? Understand that your message has to be on point. You have to be saying what they want to hear. You have to be entering the conversation that they already have going on in their mind. And that's what makes them open. And then they're going to be open to that message that's inside your email, But yeah, the technical sort of aspects of operating an email list, the autoresponder. If people don't click, if people don't open, it sends negative signals to the autoresponder, and they're not going to deliver it, because that sends negative signals to Gmail, to Hotmail. And again, there's a lot to be said for that. There's also a lot to be said for, list hygiene. You get into this world of cleaning your list and running certain automations. And again, it goes back to what Ken said. And it's not about being deceptive. In some cases, it's about understanding and knowing, or looking at what has occurred on your email list when you use these tools inside of your autoresponder to, quote unquote, and there's air quotes again for the podcast listeners, when you do these things, right? When you get these people that aren't opening, that aren't clicking, right? Certain numbers go up, and these metrics matter to you, and they're important. And again, I think that depends heavily on the long-term outlook of what you're looking for, and the way you're doing email marketing, and the fact of what you expect from your audience. If you expect it just to be a transaction every time they open your email, versus just it being a letter to them to let them know what's going on. And again, sometimes that letter is going to respond to them, or it's going to resonate with them, and they're going to respond to you, because a lot of times one of the technical things you'll do is ask for a reply. You'll simply say, hey, reply to me.
Yeah.
And in the world of email marketing, if someone replies to you, if someone sends a message back to your email address and then you send it back, that's a positive signal, and the most positive signal that you'll ever get.
Yeah.
Right. And Dean Jackson, he sort of, invented the squeeze page, right? He sort of came up with that idea of sort of taking that to the next level. And he has this thing with Joe Polish on I Love Marketing podcast. If you've never listened to that, you should definitely Google that and check it out. And if you do that, if you Google the 9-word email, you might just find 30minutemarketing.net, a blog post that I wrote where I tested this. And really what it is, it's just a simple concept of just opening up the conversation and having an open-ended conversation with a person. Instead of trying to get them to click to go buy something, just ask them, are you still interested? What is it you're looking for? How can I help you?
Yeah.
And understanding that when they reply to you, you're not going to reply back with a link for them to click to make a purchase. You're going to give them more helpful information. You're going to continue the conversation. And he uses a good point, and he represents it like this. He says, imagine that you were in a store or an office, and that person walked up and knocked on your door, and you opened your door and said, come on in. And they ask you a question. You wouldn't just hand them right? The link and expect them to buy it, right? You would answer their question and then you
Yeah.
would have a conversation because that's what people do normally.
Yeah.
Normally, when you're one on one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point. That's a great analogy. And when we talk about the technical side of email marketing too, I believe in keeping it simple. And if you overcomplicate things, because these autoresponders these days, these email marketing softwares, they can do all kinds of crazy things that are helpful and beneficial, but at the same time can just really overcomplicate and confuse things. And to me, it's just send out an email, you provide value, and that's what you do. You keep providing value. You keep continuing on the message that you have been saying to your audience, but you're doing it not only on YouTube, but you're doing it through your email as well. And if you start fiddling around too much with automations and things like that, it can get really complicated, and you could damage your, I guess, your reputation or whatever, because now you're not on top of things. And I think that's something that right now I'm learning as I go too, because I've got automations that are running that I'm like, where is this? Why is this doing this? And why is it, why is it not, and so again, I think the whole point is just keep it simple and just communicate and provide value, and just be, like Gary said, it's like inviting somebody into your home and just having that conversation and building up that relationship. That's so important.
Yeah. I mean, and to relate it to another marketer, Perry Belcher from Digital Marketer, he sort of looks at marketing as being at a party, right? So when you walk into a party, you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you start that conversation. You know, like you gravitate to that person that you have a conversation with, right? So if you walk in, you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" The person's like, "Yeah, pretty good," and then turns around. Well, the conversation's over, right? Now, but
Yeah.
if they respond to you, that conversation continues, and you start talking about your life and what you do, and right, you sort of get to know somebody, and that's sort of where that whole like, no, trust thing comes in.
Right.
And I want to take it back to what I said at the beginning about that last fashion of one-on-one conversation, right? Because when you're in your email inbox, as far as I know, you can only open up and read one email at a time in the majority of just about every email platform I've ever used, right? But how many messages can you have open on Facebook?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. When you think about it, or when I think about it like that, and I try to communicate that to people, I'm very serious when I email out to people. Even the people on my email list, I still respond to them, or I still refer to them as you, right? You and I are having a conversation. I say you and I say I, and I say respond to me. Check, if you have a question, just hit reply, you know, and then I respond to them in that one-on-one fashion. And I believe that's the true power of email marketing and why it'll never go away. Because like Ken was saying earlier, and like we started off, email marketing's dead, right? It's dead every year. Every year there's a new email killer, right?
Yeah. But it's still there. It's still hanging in there. And I just feel like it's the good old letter, that you get in the mail, that you open up and you correspond with somebody. And I think that's that personal aspect, even though it's electronic, to me, it's just much more personal than a chat. Getting a message through, Facebook Messenger. I can't tell you how many of those that I get, and it's just uncomfortable because it's live and it's happening. And you have to think on your feet of what you're going to say to this person who just asked to speak with you.
It's
Whereas with
invasive. It's
email,
invasive, right?
it is invasive. The immediacy of it is I guess what people like, but I like email because I can open it up whenever I want to open it up. I can read through it, I can scan through it, and I can digest that information. And if I want to respond, I can respond. If I don't want to respond, I don't have to. If I want to, unsubscribe, I can do it. I have that freedom to do it. Whereas other forms of communication are just so, yeah, it's invasive. That's the best word to describe it. Whereas email is just, it's just like having a nice conversation. And if people want to respond to you, that's great. If they don't, then that's the way that it is. As long as you're trying to provide value and build that relationship, that's all you can do. And I think that's the goal.
And for me, like what Ken just said, that's all you can do. All you can do is use email. All you can do is Get people on your email list and use it to communicate with them the way that you want to be communicated with. You literally should have the conversation you want to have. You shouldn't buy a course. You shouldn't listen to anyone else tell you how to do email. Short of the, you know, the general rules that you have to follow about spam laws and the technical aspects that the autoresponder you purchase are going to set up for you, right? Like having your own domain name and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's some of that technical stuff you should follow. And then there's just common sense about, you know, the way you should format an email. You shouldn't use really, really little fonts, really like you shouldn't use handwritten scripts,
Yeah.
right? To act like you're writing an email to somebody like it's a real letter. I mean, that's just weird. Then again, though, don't listen to me. Test it, because it might depend on your niche, right? It might just be the right way to do it in your niche. So again, don't take that as an absolute.
Well, I think we had a really good conversation about email marketing. This is something that we're gonna obviously expand upon here at the Affiliate Files. But definitely, Gary, do you have anything else you want to say about email marketing?
No, I'm good. And because you're on that side, I think you got to take care of the outro.
Yeah. So this is my first one. Thanks everyone for watching the Affiliate Files. We appreciate you guys. You know, we're here to tell you the truth about making money online. And the truth is that email marketing is an important part of your business. You got to just treat it like, and you treat these people like how you wanted to be treated. And that's that, to me, that is the good word of the day. So I'm Ken Furukawa. He's Gary Baker. We'll see you next week. Bye now.